A very good morning to all of my dear friends. I am Prashant Pavani. I hope you are doing good. Today is 27th October 2020. I would like to start today's discussion with this quote by Buddha. However many holy words you read, however many you speak, what good will they do you if you do not act on upon them? If you want to achieve anything, right, first of all, you need to have a clear vision in your head and good positive words. Tell yourself good positive words, create good pictures, right, in your head. This is the starting point. The second and the most important thing is take action, and that's it, right? Just take action, do your best, and then wait for result. And by time you're waiting, act on something else. So keep on acting. Action should be continuous. The more action you take, the more good words you have, the more good thoughts you have, and if you are acting on it, then it will produce good results. The more results you see, the more confident you will feel. And confidence is like a fuel. It will help you to create more positive thoughts, more positive actions, and you will see more positive results. Again, it will add more confidence in you, and this virtuous cycle will go on and on. With this, dear friends, if you are preparing for Civil Services Examination, that we have a complete online smart course for you. As you can see on your screen, the subjects that we have covered, and there are other course features as well. To find out more about it, download our mobile application. To download the PDF of today's lecture, check out my Telegram channel. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe and notification icon. On our table, we have 4 important articles. All of them are very, very important. So let's quickly start. Clearing the air. Mr. Trump has used a particular word called filthy for describing India's air quality. It has not provoked a fierce and nationalistic backlash in response to a foreign leader's insult, and the reason why we are not in a mood of backlash is because we know that he is right. Of course, the word that he has used, I do not endorse this word, but the meaning is right. He is spot on when he is saying that air quality in our country is one of the worst in the world. As we all know, dear friends, we have gone through so many reports of WHO, right? When WHO releases its air quality index, then we know that out of 20 top polluting cities, 15 cities are just in our country. So you can imagine that we are breathing a very dirty air. And then we know that this stubble burning issue, look at the state of our cities, right? I'm very much disappointed with this system called pollution under control certificate that you can get for your motorcycles and for your cars. I find no motorcycles, no cars failing this test. It's like a license to pollute. And we need to stop this thing, this pollution under control drama. If we want, then if we really want to change things, then what we need to have is we need to have this yearly or 6 monthly car as well as motorcycle inspection, where your motorcycle will go through some rigorous test, whether your brake lights are on, whether your brakes are working properly, whether your vehicle is means if it's a polluting vehicle, then you need to, if you can change it by making some changes with your spare parts, if you add some things, if you top up your oil or whatever it is, right? If you can do some things through which you can make it a less polluting or non-polluting vehicle, then do that thing. And if you cannot, then that vehicle should not be allowed on the road. Simple as that. It may be painful, but that's how we need to do, because so many people are dying because of this air pollution. So far we know that it's like he's right, but one thing that USA has to understand is that when it comes to criticizing someone else or some other country, you have to understand, and I'm talking about USA, that USA has to understand, or Mr. Trump should understand this fact that it is USA that is not part of Paris Agreement. It was USA that was the main leader who persuaded other countries like India and other countries to become part of it, and now today we find that India and China, they are doing their level best and they are trying to achieve their promises that they made under Paris Agreement. But Mr. Trump, it was him who pulled USA out of the pact. So Yes, our air pollution is bad, but we are working on it. And you are a country who has started this thing and who played a very important role in starting this Paris Agreement, and then you took your country out of it. So I don't think so. He has that much right to speak about someone else when it comes to pollution. Now, one important thing that I want you guys to understand, I'm sure you have heard about this PM 2.5 and PM 10 and this fine particulate matter. So, why they are dangerous? The thing is, our human breathing system, our nose, it has this filter system. We have human hairs inside our nose, and the size of this human hair is somewhere around 50 to 70 microns. Now, 50 to 70 microns is a good size, and it acts like a filter system. But when it comes to this PM 2.5 and PM 10 that we find mostly coming out from this polluting vehicles and factories and other places, so what happens is they are so tiny. So this is, let's say, size of human hair, right? 50 to 70 microns, and this your PM 2.5 is this tiny. So what happens is it will easily, bypass. It will easily bypass this whole filter system, and then it enters and stays in our lungs, and then it creates lung cancer and other severe diseases. Now, there are so many people, they say that bad air quality shortens our lifespan, but Prakash Javadekar last year said that we don't have any sort of evidence regarding it. Now, we all know, of course, we need proper research evidence to say that this bad air quality shortens our lifespan. Right? So, yes, that is a thing. But if we apply our brain and if we apply our common sense, then we can say this thing for sure that it doesn't matter if your life is long or short. The main thing is that should be healthy. So if you live for 100 years, but if your lungs are damaged when you were 40, so for the next 60 years you live in pain and you have to go through surgeries and so many other things, and we cannot call it a quality life, right? So our government has to understand this thing, that bad air quality is very bad for everyone, right? For rich or poor, if you are prime minister, if you are environment minister, or if you are a common man, it's going to affect you. It all depends. Like people with money, they can have air purifiers fitted in their offices and in their homes. Poor people, they don't have this sort of luxury, so they are going to feel more damage, or they are going to face more damage because of air quality. Bad air quality, of course. And what we are doing, we are raising our emission standards and fuels, but this are just tiny steps. What we need to do is we need to work on various different angles. Right? We have to fight this very idea of pollution, because pollution is not just limited to air quality. In our country, we find all types of pollution, right? Air pollution, as we all know. Then we have water pollution, soil pollution, and one pollution that people don't talk about, but this is a real serious pollution, and that is sound pollution, right? Too much of honking and too much noise in our city, which is very bad for our health. But we are not taking this thing that seriously. And even if you talk about this thing, then people will laugh at you because they don't take this thing that seriously. But I hope in future we will come to know about this thing, that how much damage this honking has caused us. Moving on to next item, America is losing the Cold War with China. This one is from Times of India. This article is written by Yogesh Gupta. Now, who is Yogesh Gupta? He was a former, in fact, he is a former Indian ambassador. So he used to be Indian ambassador. Basically, this article is written by a diplomat. Now, Robert Zoellick, former U.S. Trade Representative, observed that President Donald Trump was losing his Cold War with China, as he has failed to reduce the trade deficit with China, and did not lead U.S. allies in pursuit of common interest. So this Cold War that is going on, right, trade war, technological war that is going on with between US and China, it looks like USA is losing it. The reason is that China looks more resilient, and China is looking more confident. And we are going to talk about it as we move on, but we find that USA has stopped importing important things from China, but China has not stopped it. And this is the reason why we say that China is a bit smart here, right? China has not stopped imports of pharmaceuticals as well as technological products from USA. But USA has stopped importing important things that it used to buy from China, and this is affecting USA's player. Now, presidential candidate Joseph Biden has said that he has promised that he will sort this thing out if he is elected as president. Now, of course, at present election is going on, so it means this whole environment of election is there. Political environment is filled up with this presidential election campaign. So even if I would be there, then I would do the same thing, isn't it? Every one of us would do the same thing. We'll talk big things, but when it comes to politics, we know that around the world, big promises, but actions do not match with their words. It's all big or loud barking and little biting. Anyway, are the US allies willing to confront China in security and economic domains? That's a big question that we need to ask. Now, when we talk about Germany, Japan, ASEAN, and many other countries, they have robust economic relationship with China. And then, of course, Japan, for example, is concerned about its security, but Japan will not, Japan will not break its economic relationship with China, because Japan has invested huge amount of money in China. Chinese companies have invested huge amount of money in Japan. They don't have a good security type of or defense type of relationship, but they have very good or big trade relationship. Germany, they don't have any sort of issue at all, and the same thing goes with ASEAN nations. They have some sort of issues with South China Sea and other security related issues, but they have good robust economic relationship with China. European countries, generally speaking, like if you say Italy, Greece, and there are other Central and East European nations, they are ready to join. They have in fact joined this BRI, and they are ready to. There are other countries they are ready to join, or they are ready to get on the board when it comes to this BRI or One Belt, One Road initiative. Now, when it comes to Mr. Trump, so far we know that for last 4 years he was the main person when it comes to USA. He was the president, isn't it? He is in fact president now. So when he became president, what he did, he started behaving very roughly with allies, right, with friendly countries. And so many friendly countries in Europe and in East Asia, they are not sure. In last 4 years, Mr. Trump has created such an environment that you cannot trust that what will happen next. Today he is with you, shaking hands with you, giving you a hug, and after a few hours or maybe tomorrow he will tweet something and he will say something very bad about you and your country. So this erratic way of his working destroyed the trust that these allies used to have on USA. So they are not banking on USA anymore. So I would blame Mr. Trump and his his behavior and his way of working. That's how he is. But this has caused USA its allies. So Trump's tariffs on China exports did not produce the desired impact, because it was just USA that was fighting with China. Other countries, they carried on their import and export with China as they used to do early on. In fact, because USA was not purchasing things from China, or it applied more sanctions or more import duties, China started selling these items to other nations for a reasonable or cheaper rate, and this in fact was beneficial for other nations. Now, if you see China, then China is not in a bad position. To be honest, China is in a very good position as far as economy is concerned. China is expected to grow by 2% in 2020, while other major economies, including India, USA, right, these countries, they are going to be in red, they are going to contract, they are going to be in minus, and China is going to be in plus. So more countries would like to work with China. The rising of China is, of course, a matter of concern for democratic world. China has misbehaved with South Korea, with Japan, with Australia, and with India. We know that what's going on, isn't it? So if you want to control China, then what you need is you need a group of countries. You need these like-minded countries coming together and working in a democratic way, in a legit way, and this way we can set an example as well, that if any country will go rogue, then we will together stop that nation and create pressure on that nation, and will force that nation to make necessary reforms. But this group, this free nations or this democratic countries coming together and forming a group, it should act in a democratic way. Like USA is a democratic country, and so is India, and so are Japan, and there are other countries, right? What happens is when this team will be formed, right? Let's say you have 5-10 countries, they are ready to take on China. Then we cannot accept USA's dominant behavior. USA is also a member. Of course, you are a powerful country, but that does not mean that you will act like a big boss here or big brother here. And you have to work in a democratic fashion with other nations. You have to listen to small countries as well. If they are saying that these are the problems, then you have to pay attention to it. You cannot just look after your own profit and interest. So if we can create this group which is genuinely acting as a democratic group, then yes, it will set a good example for future, as well as it will create pressure on China to make necessary reforms. Moving on to next item, a very, very important topic. It's about SAARC. Now, SAARC stands for South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. It was created back in 1985, and the main reason for its creation was to promote economic development as well as social progress in South Asian region. On your screen, you can see this is South Asian region. There are 8 nations here. First one is Afghanistan. Second on your screen is Pakistan. Then a very big country, of course, India. Then you have Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Maldives. These 8 members form this SAARC region, or they are part of this South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation. Now, back in 2007, India was the chair of SAARC, right? So SAARC summit took place in our country, and this session is considered one of the most productive sessions so far. The launching of negotiations to bring services into South Asian Free Trade Area was launched. Then unilateral granting of zero duty access by India to SAARC least developed countries took place during this summit. Afghanistan was inducted as the 8th member of SAARC. Setting up of South Asian University, establishment of SAARC Food Bank, SAARC Development Fund, and the signing of the Convention on Mutual Assistance on Criminal Matters. So as we can see, this meeting, this summit of 2007 was one of the most productive summit, and same energy was visible in 2008 when Sri Lanka was the chair of SAARC, and the meeting took place in Colombo. Now, the reason why SAARC is important for all these 8 countries is because, see, if you are struggling alone, then you are going to achieve very less, But when you are working together as a union, then you can have better negotiations. You can have, let's say, I'll give you one example. If you want to purchase oil from this Gulf countries, right? Because this oil sellers, they are working in a group. They have this group called OPEC. So they will decide the price and quantity and everything, but buyers are individuals. So this group will decide how much you have to pay. Just imagine if you have like all 8 countries of South Asian, this SAARC countries, right, or South Asia, together they are purchasing oil. Like India will purchase oil for all these nations, and we will have a joint negotiation. Like we'll say that we want to purchase it, but you have to give us this many discount. Or if you keep a price, let's say you will not give us discount on price, but we can have credit. We can say that we will pay for this fuel after 3 months. How about that? 3 months credit. We can do this thing, or we can have something for us if we have a group, if we work as a group, So this is how it works. And we find in various different continents, like in Asia itself, you find ASEAN. In African continent, you find countries working together. In North America as well, they do the same thing. So an integrated regional economy accelerates the fiscal growth of member countries through the advantages of geographical proximity and economies of scale. Simple as that, right? We have so many things common, like Nepal, India, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. There are so many things that are common. Like we, in few pockets, same foods, similar language, similar way of life. I'll give you one example. When it comes to tea, right? Tea is something that is very common in our country. It is very common in culture of Pakistan. Now, Pakistan is not purchasing tea from India. It is purchasing it, if I'm not wrong, from Kenya, if I'm not wrong, or some other African country. But the most important thing here is that we produce one of the best quality tea in the world. But then as well, Pakistan is not purchasing it from us because of this issue that is going on between both nations. Same thing goes with leather. Pakistan is a big leather market, and these days leather pants and leather jackets and leather chairs and so many things. You need leather as a raw material. We are getting there when it comes to design and things, but we are importing it from other places because this issue going on with Pakistan. So it is not helping both of us, and it's not helping the whole region. Just imagine if you are a citizen of Nepal or citizen of Bangladesh or Bhutan or Sri Lanka or Maldives or Afghanistan, right? You will feel very bad that because of these two nations, the whole region is not able to develop. So regional cooperation is pivotal for prosperity in South Asia. Economic synergy often leads to solution of disputes. Once we have good economic relationship, then we can sort out other issues as well. When it comes to intra-regional means within the region. So when it comes to European Union, 62% trade, they do 62% trade within this, this intra-regional trade is 62%. North American Free Trade Area, 55%. ASEAN, 35%. When it comes to SAARC, it is less than 5%. Less than 5%. SAFTA is the first step towards more intense synergy, which should ultimately lead to a South Asian Union and single currency. But for that, we need cooperation between these two nations, India and Pakistan. And I would say that Pakistan has to walk extra mile. It has to win the trust of India. It has to prove this thing that it's not just about barking. It is also about biting. It will deliver it will walk the talk. That if it is promising something, then Pakistan will do that thing as well. So once it will prove this thing that terrorism and everything will be under control and it will be eliminated, then India and other nations will join Pakistan and help Pakistan to sort things out. At present, we are relying more on bilateral agreements like India, Sri Lanka, India, Nepal, India, Bhutan, India, Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh, this sort of bilateral treaties. But these bilateral treaties are helping these two nations, but overall, like a SAARC group or SAARC union type of thing where one currency and you can freely send goods to one nation to another and you can have service delivery and everything, then we have this potential. We can become more prosperous than European nations. Seriously, I don't have facts at present with me, but I know this thing for sure that if we have this proper integration, then this region can become more prosperous. And we have to do it because at present we are one of the poorest region in the world. In this part of the world, you find a highest number of people living below poverty line is in South Asia. And when it comes to these three goals, one was of universal primary education, second one was for free schooling of acceptable quality, and removal of gender disparities. These goals we were supposed to achieve by 2015. World Education Forum had agreed that we should be all these nations, 154 nations, should be able to achieve these goals by 2015. But 28 countries did not attain any of the three goals, and all of them are from South Asia. It was only Sri Lanka that achieved these goals. Apart from that, other 7 countries failed, including India. So this is a matter of shame for us that our conflict is hurting us more. And India and Pakistan, we are spending more on weaponry compared to health and education. Moving on to the last topic, easy to understand topic, not that difficult. It's about keeping women at the heart of recovery, and this is the right time. We know that we have, when I say we, I'm talking about the whole world. It's not just in developing nations, or I'm not just talking about Indian society. This applies to every country on this planet. We find even today that we have this gender inequality, and we need to make a world that is gender equal, right? No one is superior, no one is inferior, everyone is equal. May you are man, women, or third gender, it doesn't matter. All of us are human beings, and all of us are equal. We have our own qualities, talent, potential, and weaknesses. But we are getting there slowly, isn't it? So India's fight against COVID-19 is at a critical juncture, and we are at such a stage where we can see India has injected huge amount of money in the market, in the economy to fight this COVID related economic disruption, and we know that more money will be supplied in future. A few days ago, Nirmala Sitharamanji said that government is ready to take action. So if we are spending money today, then we have to make sure that we are creating green things, or stimulus measures should create a sustainable future. And we need to also make sure that the money that we are spending, it should create a gender equal system. Fragile health systems and frontline health workers are overburdened, and lives and livelihoods are affected and impacted. Particularly Adivasis, migrants, informal workers, sexual minorities, people with disabilities, and women all face greater brunt than other people. And we know that during this lockdown, we saw huge number of domestic violence cases. Ladies, they have to work extra hard, right? Unpaid care work. The demand of it was quite high during lockdown time, and we also find that they don't get their fair share, right? If they are not getting money, then at least they should get respect for what they are doing. And this applies in our society, because if you go through, see, when I say agriculture, the first thing, when I say a farmer, the first image that will come in your mind will be a person who is typically wearing that farmer attire and working in the field. But the reality is that more than 50% of agricultural labor force is women. Nobody talks about this thing. We don't have any proper, we have a word called farmer, and that is more for male person. But when it comes to female, we don't have any word in Hindi language for ladies, or for a lady who is a farmer by profession. We just say kisan, and when say kisan is a male word. It's used for males. Whenever we see a protest, kisan protest, then we don't find ladies. We find this males coming out. So agriculture, a profession or a business, right, in which we find 50% plus labor force is female, but then as well we consider it as a male sector. So if we are not taking, means if our viewpoint is this, then how we are going to see any change? At present, we have this program called Disha. It is run by this UNDP with IKEA, and they have reached 1 million women. And they are creating sustainable way of working, and they are investing in gender equality as well as sustainability. The Asian Development Bank projects that India's GDP growth rate will rebound to 8% in 2021-2022, and this is the right time to put women at the heart of this recovery to make it faster, just, and inclusive. And that's everything from my side. Thank you very much for watching this video. These are some news items on your screen. You can download the PDF and go through it. And I will see you soon with daily financial news analysis. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Jai Hind.